Real quick before we get into the episode, I want to tell you about this exciting tool we just built that's going to make your life so much easier. So we just built you the craziest pricing calculator on the internet. Quite literally, the craziest pricing calculator on the internet. It's going to help you price your next wedding and or commercial project the right way in less than like 3 to 5 minutes, which is so crazy. So here's the deal, guys. I scoured the entire internet looking for a pricing calculator because we always get asked about pricing, and I've got my own formula. Christy's got her own formula. We've revised it over years, but I was like, if there's a pricing calculator I could just send all the people that ask us about pricing to, it would make our lives much easier and hopefully the lives of the people that are, receiving the pricing calculator. However, there's not a simple pricing calculator on the internet. They're all really complex Excel forms that are a little bit more daunting than even doing like your taxes. So I was like, we've got to do something about this. So we spent the last month and a half working with a full-on development team, building a web-based pricing calculator app. And I'm so excited that it's finally here. It's completely free to you. Our gift to you, all you got to do is go to creativerise.com/pricing calculator and you can get it there. It's going to help you do these 4 things. It's going to help you avoid not knowing what to price your work at. It's going to help you avoid wasting time trying to figure out what to price a project. It's going to help you avoid undercharging and, of course, overcharging and not getting a project either. So gone are the days of you sitting at your computer not knowing what to do because you don't know what to price, right? Not knowing what to send a client, the email sitting there and you're trying to reply, but you don't know what to send them, or the text message, you can't send a response, right? Gone are the days of you getting, turned down because you're way overcharged. Gone are the days of you sending out a price and the client says, great, absolutely, we'll do it right away. And then you find out way later on down the road that project was way more intensive than you thought and you massively undercharged. The Creative Rise pricing calculator is here to help solve all those problems. I am so excited about it. This is like probably the most exciting thing that we've ever done in Creative Rise, which we say that about different things. The mastermind is what we always say is the most exciting thing, but this is so cool. So,
it is awesome.
So cool. Link in the description if you want to get access to the pricing calculator.
Awesome. And not only that, we are also on January 25th at 4:30 p.m. PST. We want to invite you to a free training we are doing called 6-Figure Pricing Decoded. Proven pricing psychology for creatives, especially creatives that are hitting 6 figures. Again, this is proven because we've done it. We've helped other people in the Creative Rise community do this. And we know pricing is such a huge obstacle. So in this training, we are going to go over the secrets to pricing. We're going to be myth busting, pricing myths that you probably believe. We're going to be understanding how to price your work the right way, how to psychologically tier your packages so you can sell the package you actually want to sell, how to price based on the value, not your worth, which is huge, and then when and how to raise your prices. We're going to be walking through a bonus tutorial of how the pricing calculator works, but we're going to give you so much pricing psychology and tactics and strategies that help you land deals you want to land at the price you want to price them at. It's going to be a ton of fun. As you know, sometimes we do fun giveaways. We are doing a giveaway for this pricing training. We're giving away $100.
Cold hard cash,
as we're saying, to somebody who enters the giveaway. Now, how can you enter the giveaway? All you have to do is go and register for the training at creativerise.com/pricing training, or you'll find it in the description or in our bio. Once you've registered, you have to screenshot your registration form, post it on your Instagram story, and tag Creative Rise.
Yeah, it would be like the, hey, congrats, you're in page that the registration form takes you to. Just screenshot that, put it on your story. Make sure you tag us, as Christy just said. If you don't tag us, we can't see, and we can't enter you in the giveaway to get $100. So we give away $100 on the last one of these we did, which was 2 times ago. It was so fun. So we can't wait. It was really fun,
and you gotta show up to the training if you want the $100.
Of course.
Screenshot it, put it on your story.
We're announcing the winner on the training.
We're announcing the winner on the training. So, you guys, those are the 2 free things that we're offering you that we're so excited for. But let's jump into today's episode.
Alrighty, guys. Today we're talking about pricing, which is obviously such a hot topic. It's the big bad wolf. As I've heard Christy say before, it is the big bad wolf. And we're talking about a couple different things today that are going to hopefully help you get better at understanding pricing, help you better your prices in 2023, and hopefully make more money, because that's the entire reason why you're listening to the show.
Exactly. So you guys, as we said, Big Bad Wolf, we're here to help you move through this. We know so many creatives believe so many myths about pricing that keeps them stuck in not hitting 6 figures, in not hitting $50,000, not even hitting $20,000, or even making a cent, because they believe a couple things that we just think are absolute myths. And we're here to bust a couple of them. We're going to bust even more myths on our pricing training, which you got to register for now. But some of the myths being like, I can only raise my prices one time a year or twice a year. No. You have to charge everybody the same rate. No. And also, we hate the term rate because you should never charge hourly. That is like literally something that Joey and I will be talking about on the training, and we will explain. You might be thinking, what the heck? It is true. It is a myth that we want to bust. And then even you need to have people that go, I can't charge what I want to charge because you need to have so much experience or you need to have more of an audience. Once I build more of my Instagram following, then I can charge
False.
what I want to charge. These are myths. We are going to bust them. And we're going to bust some myths today, hopefully, and help you get some value to move forward and keep being more confident in your pricing today through Joey, who's got a story for us.
So to bust all the myths, so make sure you're with us on January 25th,
Yeah.
4:30 Pacific Standard Time,
Do it.
because the training is going to be absolutely crazy. It is going to be the six-figure pricing training, debunking, absolutely decoding everything when it comes to pricing strategy, and then doing some Q&A, helping you do that for yourselves. We'll get to as many people as possible on that call. So make sure you're there. Free. Our gift to you. Link in the description of the podcast. But I'm going to share a story today that talks about how I went from charging $50 a photo to well above $50 a photo. And it really started to change my business when I learned the 4 things that allowed me to change my pricing, that allowed, in turn, then change my business, right? So I'm going to cover these 4 things, and I'm going to personalize a little bit by telling, like I said, this personal story. So I'm wearing one of my favorite sweaters in the world, which is my blue Yeti sweater. Now, the reason why my blue Yeti sweater is one of my favorite sweaters in the world is because Yeti sent this to me when they hired me to shoot a whole campaign for them. So Yeti was an ideal, like, dream client for me. And how we ended up working together is a whole nother story for another podcast. But they sent me this sweater, and I was like, it's only right that I wear this sweater on the podcast. And this is like my favorite sweater. This is one of the sweaters I will have till I'm like 80. Like, our kids will have this sweater. They'll be like, my dad in the 2000 and whatever teens it was shot for this cooler company. It was like iconic, you know, and our like great grandkids or whatever.
And they're like, what's a Yeti?
Yeah, they're like, what's a Yeti? Isn't that like a thing that runs in the bush and it's like snowy or whatever? Anyways, I'm wearing my Yeti sweater. I'm going to talk about going from shooting for a cooler company that I was shooting for, which was not Yeti. It was actually the first retainer I ever got. It was a $50 per photo retainer. So I would shoot 10 photos a month, which means I got $500 a month. At the time, that was phenomenal. Now, how did I price that retainer? I had no idea. I got the email one time. I was in the middle of traveling across Canada, and I remember just calling people being like, I'm so excited I got this retainer deal. And I called my dad. I'm like, what should I price it at? And we were like, I don't know, like $50 a photo. And I was like, that sounds awesome. I remember him saying to me, how many hours is it going to take you to shoot a photo? I was like, not that many. I could probably shoot multiple photos in an hour. He's like, great, $50 an hour is a ton then. $50 a photo is a ton because you get like $150, you know, like that's amazing. So I did $500 for 10 photos, and it was like the most amazing thing. I worked on that retainer for 2.5 years. Price went up over time. However, I also worked with another cooler company, which I just stated I'm wearing on my chest, Yeti, which is the global industry leader in the cooler space. Highest prices, highest volume, everything. They make the most money. And what I charged them was not $50 per photo. It was drastically more. Now, due to not being able to disclose everything, I'm not going to disclose everything. Had to sign an NDA with those guys, which is totally cool because that's very typical when you're working with big brands. However, I will tell you it was significantly more than $50 a photo. So here's the things that I learned from that story. And again, I'm not talking about how I got the gig today. I'm talking about how I priced that gig and why I was able to do theoretically the same work, yet one was $50 a photo and one was way, way, way more than that. So there's a couple different things. I'm going to give you 4 things that helped turn me into a 6-figure business owner that I did with Yeti, that I also did with a bunch of other clients over the years, turned me into someone who made 6 figures as a creative. So I went from charging, again, $500 for 10 photos to way more than that for the same amount of photos. So number 1, I became a 6-figure creative because I focused on the right target market. Now, let me describe what I mean by this. When I was working with the smaller, cooler brand, I was stoked. But over time, I started to go, okay, I'm starting to work on bigger projects with other companies, bigger brands. This one project is starting to look a little bit smaller. $500 a month for 10 photos. Still great, but it's starting to feel like a smaller job. Now, the reason why they only paid me $500 for 10 photos is because they were a decently high ticket product. Like, they were selling their coolers, not the same price as Yeti, a little bit cheaper, but their volume was so much lower. They were a higher ticket product, but a low volume company. They were not selling millions and millions and millions of coolers every quarter of every year. So if I wanted to start charging way more than $50 per photo, I had to change my ideal client. I had to change the the client I was working with. And so for me, I had to focus on the target market. Now, I was still in the cooler industry when I moved over and started working with Yeti. But why was I able to charge Yeti more? Well, the reason why I was able to charge Yeti more was obviously because I was solving a problem for somebody that has a high ticket, price on their coolers, but they had a high volume stake in their business as well. They sold way more coolers than anybody on the freaking globe. So it allowed me to charge a more premium because what I was giving them was creating more impact in their company, was creating more money. So if they're going to create a ton more money off of what I'm creating them, they're not going to look at my price and go, oh, there's no way we can do that, right? Because again, their ticket price was high and their volume was just as high. It was massive, right? So that's really important. So if you are looking to raise your prices on your photos, your price per photo, price per project, price per video, whatever it's going to be, start focusing on companies that have incredibly high ticket prices or incredibly high volume. Best of both worlds is if you can get both. If you can get incredibly high ticket product with an incredibly high volume, you're in heaven. You can charge a lot of money for that because you're solving a problem that has a crazy, crazy expensive, payday behind it for the company. So you're able to charge more for that. So that's the first thing that I did that made me a six-figure business owner as a teenager. That was really important that I had to focus on. So number 2 is I became a six-figure creative because I priced my work off the value gap that I was solving, not what I was doing. Okay, this is super important. I want you to listen to me here. I did not price my work going from $50 a photo to way, way higher than that because I was like, oh, this is what I'm doing, and I'm going to put a price tag on that. I priced my work not on the what, but I priced it on the gap I was solving. So what is a value gap? Well, a value gap is where the company is, where they're trying to go, what they're trying to accomplish, and there's a gap of problems that lies in the middle there. The deeper the gap, the more expensive it's going to cost them if they don't fix the gap, if they don't fill the gap. The deeper the gap, when you fill that gap or you make a bridge for the company to jump over to where they want to become or where they want to go and who they want to become, the deeper that is, the more money you're going to get paid. So it's important that as you price your work going into 2023, as we're now in 2023, you're not pricing your work based off just what you're doing. Because the reality is, I could do the same campaign, same photos, same models, same product for 2 different companies in the same industry. Yet one of the companies has way more scale to it. Therefore, what they're risking if the campaign doesn't go well is a lot higher because they're missing out on a lot more revenue. Versus the other company is a lot smaller. So again, that's why I was able to go from $50 a photo to way, way, way above that with Yeti, was because I was solving a problem that had a bigger gap to it. I was helping them cross a bridge that had more risk involved if they did not cross that bridge well, right? So that is a super, super important part of becoming a six-figure business owner, is learning how to identify those big value gaps and then learning how to fill those, right? So very, very important. Again, they had a lot of money to lose if I did not fill that gap properly. So you want to look for companies. As you look into the world in 2023, if you want to make more money, look into the world and go, what companies are at risk of losing a lot of money or losing a lot of status or whatever it's going to be if it does not go well? And then how do I help fill that gap? How do I help be a bridge for them? And if you can do that, you're going to get paid a lot. So that was the second thing I did. Number 3 was I became a six-figure creative business owner because I changed the deliverable quality and I changed the deliverable focus. So let me describe what that means to you. Most people, when they get into the brand world, a brand will send them a product and the brand will say, hey, we need 30 photos. So they're like, great. And they go out, and I'm guilty of this. You're guilty of this as well.
Absolutely.
We've both done this. Everyone does this at some point, or they're still doing this. Actually, quite frankly, most people do this when they shoot brands. Brand says, I need 30 photos. You go out, you shoot 30 photos in 1 or 2 locations with 2 models, same product, maybe not even an outfit change. The reality is, all of those photos, that are the 30 photos, there's really only like 7 to 8 photos that are unique that can be used in different places. All the other photos look like duplicates, therefore they're not really usable, right? You can't send out daily emails as a company to your mailing list trying to sell your products of a jacket when the photos you have of the jacket look the exact same basically for all 30 days. That's not going to be beneficial to your audience, right? So what I did to really go from someone who shot photos for $50 to way, way, way above that was I focused on going, okay, if I'm going to create a campaign for the company and they want 15 photos from me, I'm going to make sure that every single photo I give them is a different story, different storyline. The product is being used in hopefully a different way. Ideally, there's a different person in it. Ideally, we're in a different, location doing different things. And so when they got all 15 photos, they had 15 usable creative assets that they were able to use to continue to grow their business. So you can get paid way more for that Instead of giving a brand 100 photos where 80 of them are duplicates, give a brand 15 or 30 photos where they're all individual storylines. You'll get paid a ton more for that because, again, the value they're receiving to help fill those gaps that I talked about in the point before this is way, way, way higher. So I did that really well, and that's something that you also need to focus on doing very well if you are in the commercial space, whether you're a brand photographer, whatever it's going to be. Focus on not creating duplicates. If you can not create duplicates, you can charge more for what you're doing because the actual health of the content you're delivering is much higher. It's more usable, okay? So number 4, last but not least, I became a 6-figure creative business owner because I made sure my discovery process to understand their problem and create a predictable outcome was really, really dialed in. So here's what I mean by that. If you are someone who is wanting to charge a higher ticket price per photo, per video, per project, whatever you're doing, and you do not have a really good process of understanding what the client's like really, really exact problems are, odds are you're not able to create a really predictable outcome. If you cannot create a really predictable outcome, you can't get that outcome. If you can't get that outcome, you don't deserve to be paid really well for it. Again, all business is finding someone with a problem and creating a really solid solution for them. The deeper the problem is, the deeper the paychecks are. Deeper the problem, the deeper your pockets are going to be. So it's super important that when you're onboarding a client, you have a great process to make sure that to the wire, you know what their problem is, what's stopping them from getting there, and then you've created a plan to engineer a predictable outcome that both parties say, this is great. If we can get here, it's a big win. If you can do that, that is way more professional than just being like, yeah, send me the stuff and I'll go out and shoot it and give it to you and you can let me know what you think, right? Way more professional to actually engineer an onboarding process, go through a discovery call, highlight all the problems, highlight what success looks like. Here's a quick tip. This is what I say all the time on sales calls when we're doing discovery calls with clients, right? Not sales calls, discovery calls. I always say to the person I'm dealing with, if you could snap your fingers and this project was over, so we're a week from now, a month from now, 6 months from now, whenever it is, if you could snap your fingers and the project was over and it was working perfectly for you, it was doing exactly what you wanted it to do, what does that look like? Talk to me about it. What's happening in your company? When they start describing that for me, I start to understand what the predictable outcome needs to be. I can then build a plan to get there. Therefore, I know I'm going to get that outcome and I can charge a lot for that because they can trust me. And I have a reputation that shows that I'm able to get that outcome. So that is the 4th thing that I did to become a 6-figure creative that I urge you to do in 2023. And your pricing will reflect that. If you can learn how to do all of those things, your prices per project, per photo, per video, per website, per social media account you manage, per wedding even, like everything you do is just going to go up and up and up and up. And so those are the 4 things that took me from shooting photos for like $50 a photo all the way to hundreds of dollars per photo.
Yeah, that's such a good story. And I feel like that's so actionable tips that someone can go and take and actually utilize in your creative business. So I don't want you to miss that. Okay, you guys, I'll recap this for you. If you want to price like a 6-figure creative, you have to do these 4 things. 1, focus on the right target client. You got to pick someone who either is high volume or high price. That's the sweet spot if it's both. Number 2, price your work off the value gap you are filling rather than what you are doing. Stop thinking about how many hours you are or aren't working on the project. Think about the solution it is causing and the value that's giving that company or client. And then number 3, change your deliverable quality if needed. So do you need to lower the amount you're giving, give less fluff, or do you need to up what you're giving to meet that quality of what's going to be best for the client? And then lastly, number 4 is make sure your discovery process to understand their problem and create a predictable win for the client is dialed. Make sure they can trust that you will be successful by giving them a great discovery experience so that you can win that deal. So if you can do these 4 things, you can start pricing like a 6-figure creative and be confident in it, which is
Totally,
awesome.
yeah. So we want to give you way more than what you just heard on this podcast. Like we said, this 6-figure decoded pricing blueprint. Sales call, it's not sales calls, training, free training. I'm just like so excited about I'm saying all these things.
Yeah.
These 6-figure pricing decoded training that we are going to be doing is decoding pricing. We're going to literally take pricing strategy and we're going to decode it for you. So it's so just digestible and you get it and you can implement it into your business. I hope you feel like this podcast was even tactical and you can implement things from this podcast. The training is going to be like that times 10x because we're looking at you face to face, quite literally.
Yeah.
We want you to show up with your camera on and be able to ask questions and stuff and be able to get the context to contextualize the stuff to your own business so you can actually do something with it in the future. So please get there. Link is in the description. Make sure you sign up for that. Again, completely free. January 25th. Mark it on your calendar, 4:30 Pacific Standard Time. Hopefully we can do like 2 hours, probably like an hour and a half to 2.5 hours. That will be the best 2.5 hours you've spent all quarter, the beginning of this year. If you want to find a way to set yourself up for success in 2023, make sure you are on this call. People who do not get on this call, I can guarantee you will not have as good of a year as people who are on this call because this call is going to be so great. And we're going to walk through the pricing calculator, which crazy news, it's available today. So go get it. Again, creativerise.com/pricing calculator, completely free to you. Make sure you're on that training. Make sure you go use that pricing calculator. We're going to talk a ton about the calculator on the call and show you how we use it, the best practices for you to get the most out of it. And then other than that, we've got tons of people on the wait list for the mastermind, which is launching so soon.
Yeah.
So soon. January 25th, the same day the training is happening, the wait list is going to get early access to apply for the Creative Rise Mastermind, which is so cool. We already have more people on the wait list than spots available, like we do every year. If you're not sure what the Creative Rise Mastermind is, it is a program we developed back in 2019 that we've innovated. It is the greatest place in 2023 for you to learn how to make your next 6 figures as a creative. It doesn't matter if you're a photographer, filmmaker, graphic designer, social media strategist, whatever you are, we've had every single type of creative in there and watched so many creatives hit 6 figures, even quite a few of them hit multiple 6 figures due to the tools, strategy, community, and accountability that we give you full access to inside of the Creative Rise Mastermind. 6 weeks long. It is like full on. You will not regret it. If you want to make 2023 the best year yet, you got to get on the wait list because January 25th is when applications go live for the wait list. You get discounted pricing, plus you also get a couple bonus courses with value of like $1,000, which is so cool. And the mastermind sells out, as you know, Christy, and you've said before on the podcast, every single time. We only take 35 businesses. So it's super important that you get on the wait list so you can get a spot to apply. And then we're going to look at all the applications and fit the room and make sure everyone's ready to go and go for it.
It's going to be awesome.
Starting when?
February
12th. February 12th is the first day.
Day 1.
6 weeks start on February 12th. It's going to be unbelievable.
It's going to be so good. Okay, you guys, we will see you at the pricing training. We might see you on the wait list, and we'll definitely see you next week on the podcast. So thanks for listening. Our next podcast, actually, you got to be there.
It's coming this week. If you're listening to this the week this comes out, we're
doing
a double header.
Week.
We are dropping a podcast that is going to be so good. It's on lead generation for your creative business. Lead generation. And we actually took it from a wedding perspective. So how do you do lead generation as a wedding photographer? And it's so applicable if you're not in the wedding space and you're in the commercial space. I learned a ton even just from the conversation. It is with Rebecca Soto. She is a grad of the Creative Res Mastermind, and she has built a phenomenal business. You're not going to want to miss how she built it. She goes pretty deep into some of the tactical stuff she's done, some of the different ways she's had to prepare her mind to make sure stuff gets done. I can't wait to drop the episode. It's going to be great. So shout out to Rebecca. This episode
coming this week.
We always say next week's episode,
but
we're doing 2 this week. So you're not going to want to miss that. We'll see you on that episode, guys.
Thanks everybody for listening, and we will see you this week.
See you soon.